From the Schmoes No Network Studios in Los Angeles, California, it's time for Profiles with your hosts, Alicia Malone and Scott Mantz.
Hello, Schmoville! Welcome to Profiles Episode 9, number 9. And today we are spotlighting our first actress on Profiles,
yes.
Cate Blanchett.
I was so excited. I really wanted to profile a female, and we were discussing back and forth who would we choose. Plenty of actresses we're going to be talking about on Profiles because there's so many great actresses, some great female directors as well. But I wanted to choose Cate Blanchett because she is a woman I feel very close to because...
she's from Australia.
Exactly, but she is also a fantastic actress. She's someone who completely transforms with every single role, and she doesn't even use prosthetics or heavy makeup to do that. It's just an inner transformation. She's a master of the stage and the screen. She's been artistic director at the Sydney Theatre Company. Incredible, with her husband, 2 Oscars, 3 SAGs, 3 Golden Globes, 3 BAFTAs. Unafraid to jump in to some really complex characters who are not always likable.
And they're not really leads all the time either.
Yes.
One thing I noticed is that even at this stage of her career, when she could easily just demand top of the title billing, she still does a lot of ensemble movies. She still does a lot of supporting roles. She goes after the material. And Cate Blanchett is an actress, when you think of her, when I see her, what I love about her is that she's radiant. She is classy. She knocks it out of the park every single time, no matter how good or not so good the movie is. She makes it worth watching.
She's elegant and she's so intelligent. Every single time I interview her, and I've interviewed her so many times over the years, I've been really fortunate to do so. Every time I go, I want to be Cate Blanchett when I grow up because she's just so fantastic.
She's so fantastic.
Beautiful as well. I remember the first time I interviewed her was in Sydney in 2008 for Elizabeth the Golden Age. It was the premiere near the Sydney Theatre Company, actually. And I was wearing this bright orange dress, this young, blonde Alicia Malone. And I was interviewing her, and I noticed how my dress reflected in her skin because her skin is that pale and pure and gorgeous. She's just beautiful. I love her. I can't wait to talk more about her. Can we give a quick shout out to our t-shirts?
Yes, we should absolutely do this. You see, now, as you know, every week Alicia and I wear movie-themed t-shirts to go along with whoever it is that we're spotlighting. But listen, not a whole lot of Cate Blanchett shirts out there.
There should be.
So there should be. So to rectify that, our good friend, our pal, our #1 profile, Brett Olson, who designs all the great promos that we put on our website, all the logos, he designed for us these Cate Blanchett t-shirts that have the Profiles with Malone and Mantz logo on it. We love you, Brett.
Thank you
so much
for doing that.
Thank you so much for making this happen.
We really, really appreciate it. So let's start to find out more about Cate Blanchett in our segment we call
It's a Wonderful Life.
Roll It.
Catherine Elise Blanchett was born on May 14, 1969 in Melbourne, Australia. In 1992, Cate graduated from Australia's National Institute of Dramatic Arts, and in 1993 she won the Newcomer Award from the Sydney Theatre Critics Circle for her performance in Kafka Dances. She made her small screen debut in 1994's Australian miniseries Heartland, and she made her feature film debut in 1997's Paradise Road. But it was her Golden Globe-winning breakthrough performance in 1998's Elizabeth that really put her on the map. Cate Blanchett has been nominated for 5 Academy Awards and won twice, once as Best Supporting Actress for The Aviator and again as lead actress for Blue Jasmine. She has been married to playwright and screenwriter Andrew Upton since 1997, and they have 3 children, all sons.
Blue Moon. Blue Moon was playing when?
Yeah, Blue Moon. Yeah, talking to the kids, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Full disclosure, Cate Blanchett has actually been nominated for 6 Academy Awards. We said 5. but it was 6. So we caught that, and we're saying it now.
That
but that's
just
okay.
shows you how brilliant she is.
She is absolutely brilliant. And a lot of actors and actresses, a lot of her friends in the business, co-stars, her peers, have a lot of great things to say about her.
Yeah, so we're going to pepper these quotes throughout the show. Let's start off with Hugo Weaving, who's a fellow Aussie, a friend of Cate's, and also worked with her on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He says about Cate Blanchett that she is incredibly intuitive, highly intelligent, physically perfectly free and playful. Nothing that, like all the actors nothing. Oh, I can't even read it. Like all the actors in the Sydney troupe, Blanchett is classically trained. I got there. She has good theatrical sense and she keeps her feet on the ground. And of course, she's just gorgeous.
And Brad Pitt, who co-starred with Cate in Babel, and Benjamin Button, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, says, you just imagine Brad Pitt saying this, "Oh, Cate, she's mesmerizing. I don't know why. It's beyond my understanding. Why we all want to work with her is she elevates the rest of us. She's got some ethereal grace and elegance that's beyond me, and it's an acute understanding of human nature. She's just exquisite. She's otherworldly." You can see Brad Pitt saying that, right?
Totally see saying that. Definitely. Okay, well, our first blood.
What's yours?
Well, yeah, mine's a little different, I imagine, to yours because I'm from Australia. So I came across Cate Blanchett in a movie called Oscar and Lucinda, which was 1997, directed by Gillian Armstrong, also stars Ralph Fiennes. And I didn't see it in the cinema, as I say. I saw it on video, but I just remember noticing how much of a presence she had. I didn't know anything about her. I had missed her on the TV shows that she'd done, but I thought she was absolutely gorgeous. And then when I saw her a year later in Elizabeth, I was so excited, and as Australians do, when one of us does well overseas, we're like, that's our girl.
So proud.
Our Cate Blanchett.
So proud.
Yeah, and then from then on, I mean, she's just had an incredible career.
Absolutely. And yes, my first blood is definitely Elizabeth. Came out in November of 1998, directed by Shekhar Kapoor. She actually played the character twice, but in this first time, this was a star-making breakthrough performance in every sense of the word. Really the coming-of-age story about Queen Elizabeth I.
Definitely.
An incredible, transformative, physically and emotionally, and we'll talk more about the role, but I just thought it was kind of interesting how that year Dame Judi Dench won the Oscar for supporting actress.
And she also played Elizabeth.
Right. And it was like a running time of like 7 or 8 minutes. It was the second shortest win for a supporting actress in Oscar history.
Amazing.
But of course, they would go on to star together in 2006's Notes on a Scandal. Another movie we will be talking about very, very, very soon. Like even
right now.
Right now on our Fast Five.
Number 5.
What's the movie?
You think this is a love affair? Please don't diminish our what?
Oh,
Notes on a Scandal. I really enjoyed this film when I rewatched it the other day. It's fantastic. What did you say? It was 2006?
It came out December 25th, 2006, because nothing says Christmas like a good scandal.
I know. Cate Blanchett plays this beautiful young art teacher who gets into this sordid affair with a 15-year-old student.
Ooh.
And then Judi Dench plays this lonely, kind of strange woman who wants to enter in a friendship, or maybe more.
Maybe a little more. Maybe a little bit. We'll let you be the judge of that.
It's a very salacious movie, but what elevates it is the performances.
Definitely.
You know, Dame Judi Dench, of course, never puts in a bad performance. We'll have to do a profiles on her one day.
Oh, sure, yeah.
She has the showier role, but Cate really humanizes this character. And something I've noticed about Cate by watching all her films is she does pain really well. So even though she's playing a character who does a morally horrific thing, especially a teacher and a student, just horrible, you kind of understand her and you kind of feel sorry for her.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, because we're definitely going to talk about another character later on in the show who you could easily hate her. But there's something about Cate Blanchett's performance that makes you sympathize with her, maybe even root for her in some ways. Now, in this film, like you said, it was salacious, it was sleazy, sort of a dirty, fun movie, accentuated by Philip Glass's very melodramatic score, which was fitting the material perfectly. Notes on a Scandal was nominated for 4 Academy Awards.
Wow.
Best Actress, Supporting Actress for Cate Blanchett, Adapted Screenplay and Score, directed by Richard Eyre, based on the book by Zoe Heller, and just... like you said, the performances really make the film, but it moves along at a really, really quick pace. And toward the end of the film, that scene where Cate Blanchett's character Sheba puts on all the makeup,
dresses up,
and she breaks the mirror, and goes outside where all the people have been gathered. She's like, "Here I am!" I'm like, what? But
it's incredible. And the scene where we were talking about yesterday, where Judy's character, her cat dies. and then she expects Kate's character Sheba to come with her to say goodbye to the cat, and Sheba has to see her son in a play, and it's this real power struggle between these two women. And Bill Nighy, who plays the husband, is like, what kind of spell does she have over you? It's such a great blackmail relationship.
Scene, yes, because in the beginning of the movie, you're right, Judi Dench's character Barbara, she's lonely, she's bitter. I mean, she's very, very much like in charge of like the school. I mean, people look up to her and they fear her.
Yeah.
And because she finds this newcomer in Cate Blanchett's character, and she's sort of circling her like a lion circles its prey. Yeah. And then she drags her in, and then when she finds out what's going on, she blackmails her into being her friend.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy.
It's almost like a single white female type situation. Almost. But if it hadn't been for this great casting, it could have just been a completely forgettable movie, like a B-grade movie. But because of these two women, and I like how it explores two really complex female characters, and then all the relationships that they have with each other, with husbands and students, and yeah, I loved it.
I like the end of the film, like she's moved on to her next prey.
Yes.
Whoa, you're like, oh, there she goes again.
Oh God.
A lot of our friends in Schmoville had to say this about Notes on a Scandal. Rachel Cushing, we just love Rachel. She's the best. And this is written like a true film critic. I have to say, Rachel, you should be writing reviews for a living. I believe that Blanchett's role in Notes on a Scandal pushed her into a whole new level of acting. Sheba Hart is neither likable nor strong, and yet, interesting, Blanchett plays her with just the right amount of pathos. It's almost hard to watch as she navigates the perilous waters she creates for herself by having an affair with a student, but it is terribly fascinating. I like that, terribly fascinating. I could watch this entire subtle dance with her and Judi Dench for hours on end and find that the entire film is such a compelling commentary on secrets, jealousy, relationship, and manipulation, and Blanchett holds the entire movie together with her quiet desperation. Whoa!
That's a perfect way to describe the character, quiet desperation. And that's why you feel sorry for her. Well, Mladen Kulik, hopefully I say that right. So just blame my accent if I didn't. I love this movie because it shows how gossip can ruin people's lives, and not every secret needs to be shared. Very true.
Well, I just have my own quick Cate Blanchett story. I interviewed her a few times over the years, but I'm a member of the Broadcast Film Critics Association, so I just get to go to the Critics' Choice Awards every January.
Yes.
And at the last award show, in between the commercial breaks, all the critics get up and they go over to where the stars are sitting to like say hello and everything. So I go over to Cate Blanchett's table, and she's sitting there with her son. So of course I'm like gushing, I'm my fingers crossed, like I hope you win. I think you deserve to win. I love Blue Jasmine. So then her son starts showing me a card trick.
Cool.
And he was really good at it. So then the commercial starts and I had to go sit down. So 2 months later at the Academy Awards, I went up to her again and I just said, she said, oh, hi. Like she remembered me. And I said, your son is really good at the card tricks. And she goes, oh, thank you. It's really, really sweet. Moments like that make it kind of fun.
Yeah, she's so lovely. Just so approachable as well. Now she has many, many great scenes that she's done. So many. We have Right Stuff coming up. This was hard to choose because I was thinking of scenes like in Babel, the Stitches scene where she's writhing in pain.
Horrible. Harrowing.
Blue Jasmine, any one of those scenes.
Yeah.
When she just completely loses it. But I'm going to go with a different one just because I think this is awesome that she did this. Hot Fuzz.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Remember, she had that uncredited cameo in Hot Fuzz where she played Janine, who was Simon Pegg's character, ex-girlfriend, also a forensic scientist. She's in a mask and a suit, so all you see are her eyes. Again, no credit for it, and she gave away her fee to charity.
And the voice gave it away. Obviously you can't even see because she's covered. All you see are her eyes. But she started talking. I was like, wait a minute. I kind of thought, and then everybody started talking about it.
I didn't till afterwards, and then someone said that was Cate Blanchett. I was, really?
What?
It's like, that is awesome that she does this kind of stuff.
That's very cool.
And she also joked about it in interviews, saying that she takes her acting seriously, so she wore that white suit for 3 to 4 weeks, 24 hours a day, just to get the feel of what it's like to be a forensic scientist. And she got her eyelashes tinted too, so hard work, hard preparation.
She will do it all for even the smallest, shortest role.
I love that.
That's a class act. My Right Stuff. Okay, yes, it is from Blue Jasmine. Like you said, it could have been any number of scenes. Of my favorite line in the whole movie is when she's flipping out and she goes, who do I have to sleep with around here to get a Stoli Martini with a twist of lemon? But the scene that I love, the scene that just really sort of packs in the biggest emotional punch is towards the end of the movie when she looks like she's going to get her old life back. The high class with Peter Sarsgaard. He's a very successful businessman. He's an aspiring politician. And of course, she has lied every step of this relationship, not telling him what really happened to her husband, not saying that he had a son. So then they are shopping for rings on the streets of San Francisco. And there's Augie, played by Andrew Dice Clay, who was also really good in this movie.
Yeah, he was.
And he confronts her, asking about her son, saying, people don't forgive and forget like this. And it just brings her whole world crashing down again. And she just like that, loses it all over again.
Gosh, well, a lot of details in her performance. Nice segue into the last detail, which is all about trivia. So hit me with some trivia.
I'm going to hit you with some trivia.
See if I don't know this.
Although, as a fellow Aussie, you probably know all of this already. After completing the Lord of the Rings trilogy back in 2003, not knowing that she was going to be called back for The Hobbit, but she kept and bronzed her elf ear prosthetics.
Oh, cool.
She had them bronzed. Yes,
I
how cool
was
that?
That's awesome.
I think Leonard Nimoy is the only other person who might have done something like that with his ears.
I wonder if she had to unbronze them.
Just to save money on the budget for The Hobbit.
Yeah, I'm sure they had extra ears. Well, did you know that she is one of only 11 actors who have been nominated for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress in the same year for different films? So 2008, she was nominated for Best Actress for Elizabeth the Golden Age and Best Supporting Actress for I'm Not There. Not many actors have that honor. Jamie Foxx, we were talking about.
Al Pacino. Another Kate Winslet has that honor.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's like...
It's an elite club.
11. That's it in all of Oscar history.
11.
That's a very good class to be in.
Yep.
Okay, well, as of, again, they bringing the Australian connection back into Cate Blanchett with Alicia Malone. She is the only, and I repeat, the only Australian actress to win 2 Academy Awards.
Wow.
The only one.
The
now
only one.
That is a class.
We have good actresses,
yes,
too.
you do. A lot of good comes out of Australia.
Well, she's also been in 7 movies which have been nominated for Best Picture Oscars, and 4 of them have been in a row. So all her 7 movies that have been nominated are Elizabeth in 98, Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring 2001, Lord of the Rings The Two Towers in 2002, Lord of the Rings Return of the King in 2003, then The Aviator 2004, Babel 2006, and Benjamin Button Curious Case of 2008.
Nice. Very interesting. One more bit of trivia. This is more just an extension of The Aviator. I didn't realize, just because he had been working for so many years, that The Aviator was the first movie by Martin Scorsese to gross more than $100 million domestically.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
that is
going back to the 70s, really? That was his first movie to make more than $100 million?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I want to read out a little quote from another great actress who we will be profiling at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Meryl Streep.
Yep.
Meryl Streep that says that Cate Blanchett is an actress that is not only gifted and talented, she is above all a brave actress. One has to be brave, for example, to play in A Streetcar Named Desire on Broadway. I really admire her enormously and I'd love to resemble her.
I'd love to resemble her. Well, that's an interesting quote.
High praise.
I'd love to resemble her.
Because I think people say that they are both quite similar in some respects.
In the sense that they just do great work.
Yeah.
Well, coming in at number 4 in our Fast 5, JT.
No. Richard, no.
Wow.
Oh, I just had to play a little bit of that.
Yes.
From
Harrowing
Babel.
performance Babel came out in 2006 on October 27th.
Which was the same year as Notes on a Scandal and The Good German, and all 3 films were Oscar nominated in some way, shape, or form.
Good year.
Kate.
Excellent year.
She's incredible.
For Kate Winslet. Yeah, she knows how to pick them.
Blanchett.
What did I say?
Winslet.
Oh, jeez. Kate Blanchett. Blanchett, yes. This movie was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. It won 1 for Best Score. But it did win the Golden Globe for Best Picture Drama. It cost $25 million to make. Directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, who we just had to throw out, also directed the new movie Birdman.
So good.
Which is so incredible, but we'll get to him one of these days.
Yeah, well, this is part of his Death trilogy.
Yeah.
It started with Amores Perros and then 21 Grams, and then Babel continued or ended the trilogy. I'm glad to see with Birdman he has lightened up a little bit.
A little.
Because this is a depressing movie.
Very, yeah.
Everything goes bad, but it's quite complex in that there's no villains, you know. It's all circumstance or fate that brought each character to this place. I love how it's these interconnecting storylines, and it's not till the end that you realize how they all connect.
Yeah.
It's also non-linear, so you don't know exactly when things are taking place. And with Crash in 2004, and then this movie started off this whole rage of this what they call hyperlink cinema, which is the interconnecting storylines. But that's something that Alejandro has been doing in his work the whole time.
And that actually does go back. I mean, Robert Altman had been actually doing that since the mid-'70s with Nashville.
It's hard to do well, though, and I think Babel does it perfectly.
Babel does it perfectly. Paul Thomas Anderson does it perfectly, too, with like Magnolia. But this movie, like you said, it's challenging, it's riveting, it is depressing,
yes,
and it's harrowing. And Cate Blanchett is not in the movie that much.
She also doesn't have that much dialogue.
But it's just the
Powerful.
physicality of her performance that resonates so strongly. She plays Susan, and Brad Pitt plays Richard. They're the Joneses. They're on a vacation in Morocco to sort of get that spark back and rediscover their marriage after something went wrong. Probably it sounds like Brad Pitt's character might have strayed. But it sort of all starts really with the sound of a rifle going off, and it just sets off this chain of events, and then, like you said, you find out at the end of the movie where it all started.
Yes.
But you brought up something while we were talking about this movie that I didn't think about, is what happened to the kids.
I know, what happened to the kids?
Because so structurally the movie is a lot like Pulp Fiction, where
You've got to piece it together.
You got to piece it together. So in the film, after Cate Blanchett's character is back in the hospital recovering from the gunshot wound, Brad Pitt's father calls home, and he's talking to the housekeeper, the babysitter, and this all happens before she takes the kids to Mexico so she can go to this wedding, and then loses the kids.
And then you never see what happens to the kids if they stay in the desert. And the little girl, Elle Fanning.
I was like, whoa, little Elle Fanning, she's so cute.
Well, but how horrible, they go through the Joneses, this horrible ordeal. Once again, Cate Blanchett, so great at portraying pain. First psychological pain, then physical pain.
Yeah.
You really feel her pain in that scene when she's getting stitches. And then they come home, and you imagine they come home, the housekeeper has now been deported, and where are their kids?
Oh man, that's just like everything that can go wrong.
Because for every other
wrong.
character, it does kind of end on a little bit of hope. They discover love in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
But maybe not the kids.
Maybe not the kids. Oh well. Well, Brad Pitt, interestingly, gave up starring in The Departed, a movie that he produced, a movie that went on to win Best Picture, so that he could work with Alejandro González Iñárritu in Babel.
And then great to see the two, Cate and Brad,
work together
2 years later in Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So from Schmoville, Dan Skip Allen.
Yay, Dan.
He says about Babel, Babel was my #1 movie of the decade in the 2000s. I love how Iñárritu puts all the pieces together. When Cate is shot, Brad goes on a tirade to get her help. It shows us the dangers of what I'm having trouble reading today. It shows us the dangers of what one gun can do and how many lives it can hurt. That's really true. And how much of a jerk is that English guy who's like, we need to go. It's hot on the bus. We're going to leave you. Your wife's been shot, but I don't care. I've got to go.
Yeah, total like selfish. But that's something else the movie points out, and another reason why it resonates on so many emotional levels.
Yeah, and it also relates to the biblical story, the Tower of Babel, which is all about miscommunication, and that's what the film is all about, the miscommunication with all the different languages and different relationships, different class systems. So much happening in this film. I enjoyed the rewatch, even though I was like, that is depressing.
Yeah, it is a little depressing. But not depressing are a lot of the movie posters that Cate Blanchett has done over the years. Some of them are really, really, really awesome.
Yeah.
As we'll find out right now in The Big Picture. Let's hear it.
Cate Blanchett's star-making performance in director Shekhar Kapoor's 1998 epic about the rise of Queen Elizabeth I came with this eye-popping one-sheet that contained the bold tagline, "Absolute power demands absolute loyalty." One look at this colorful movie poster for 2004's A Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and you know that this quirky, offbeat ensemble has Wes Anderson's name written all over it. And we love this classy throwback for 2006, The Good German, directed by Steven Soderbergh, which was deliberately modeled after designer Bill Gold's unforgettable one-sheet for the 1942 classic Casablanca. Here's looking at you, Kate.
Epic music.
Epic music.
I forgot to cut off the music at the end there. Sorry, Cate. So it just kept going on because I love the music from The Good German so much.
Yeah, it's a good soundtrack.
And one day I'm going to get Ken, the pit boss, to actually watch Casablanca because he hasn't seen it.
There's so many movies that he has not watched.
Yeah, I need to sit him down.
We got to take him to Alicia's film school.
Yes.
Yes, definitely go to
please.
Alicia's film school. Well, that brings us to The Player. So many great movies, so many great characters that Cate Blanchett has played. Again, not all of them leads, but she still knocks it out of the park every time, including the now 6 times she has played this elegant elf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, Galadriel. And again, radiant, exquisite. She stands out. This is a true ensemble that could really just sort of overwhelm the acting, the performances, because it's so much about the special effects and the material. But Cate Blanchett just really, really stands out in these movies. And I'm so glad that even after all her success throughout the last decade, that she still went back and did the Hobbit movies, even though they're very small roles.
I agree, and she has that ethereal quality that really works for the Elf Queen. I also love when she plays a villain, like Marissa in Hannah. Great film. I mean, this was all based on fairy tales. So Marissa is the Wicked Witch, and Joe Wright, the director, also says sort of based on one of his teachers. Sounds scary. Chillingly real, as Cate always plays it. Very well dressed, and I love when Cate was doing interviews, she joked about it by saying like, I'm a horrible person and it's just now coming out in my work.
But this is a role that Marissa, it's a great villain. Like she chews her scenery. It's the kind of role that they always say it's better to play the villain because you get the better role, the better lines. And that's very obvious in this movie. You can just tell that Cate Blanchett is relishing the part to play someone so deliciously evil. She is a ruthless lunatic in this movie.
Now I wanted to talk about an Australian character, Tracy, from a movie called Little Fish. In 2005, straight after doing The Aviator, this is why I love Cate, she went back to Sydney to do an indie film, and she played a recovering heroin addict who's struggling to stay clean when everyone around her is trying to drag her back into that world. She's unbelievable in the character, of course, and she just says it's just so amazing that she went straight from playing Katharine Hepburn, who was so glamorous in Hollywood, to this character Tracy, who was greasy-haired and wore unflattering clothes, and she just makes that switch so effortlessly.
Well, the other role that we have to mention in our player is Bob Dylan. Or as in like this film,
a facet of
Bob Dylan's personality. And the character, the facet she plays is Jude, which I love. But the way she plays Jude Dylan, I felt like, despite the fact that it was one of only 3 times in which an actor was nominated for a performance in what they played a member of the opposite sex. The other 2 were Felicity Huffman and Linda Hunt, that she was the best persona, the best personality of Bob Dylan in that movie. Todd Haynes, real avant-garde gonzo kind of film, but I love it.
I love it too. And the most amazing thing about this performance is how quickly you forget that it's a woman playing a guy.
Right, totally.
That ends up being the least interesting thing, because Cate, as she does with all her characters, completely embodies Jude, and it's fascinating to watch. Also wanted to give a big shout out to our profilers who's been running these great brackets. So if you want to participate in these brackets, and now on our Facebook page, which are profiles on the Schmoes Know Network with Malone and Mantz, so make sure you go and like that page if you want to get involved, because this is really fun. So
like it anyway.
So Rachel Cushing, she was in charge of this one. She wanted to be in charge of the female bracket, and so they pitted 2 of Cate Blanchett's performances against each other, and Steve Zissou, who starred in The Life Aquatic with Cate Blanchett, and Rasika also helped to roll these out. They got down to Elizabeth versus Katharine Hepburn, and Jasmine versus Galadriel, and then it got down to the finals, which was Jasmine versus Hepburn, and Jasmine wins.
Jasmine, go Jasmine, yes.
So according to profilers, that is her best performance, and I think we both agree.
And wait till you see who we're going to have on our brackets next week. We'll get to that a little later in this show.
So excited.
But we want to take this time right now to make a couple of announcements. First, Like Alicia said, please go to our Facebook page, which is Profiles with Malone and Mantz on the Schmoes Know Network.
Yes.
Like the page, share it with all of your Facebook friends, and I mean really just push it.
Just annoy them.
We just annoy them, like, because we want people to watch this. You know, we love doing the show. We know you love watching and listening to it on iTunes, which brings me to my other point, where even if you are watching the show on YouTube, please go to iTunes and not only rate and review us, but subscribe to Profiles on iTunes, because some problems we've had lately where even if you think you've already subscribed, the odds are that you will have to resubscribe. So please stop what you're doing, put the show on pause, go to iTunes, go to Profiles, subscribe, rate, and review us. We really need this to survive. This is very, very, very important.
You can also watch us on YouTube, which is youtube.com/schmoesknowpodcast. You can see all the shows from everyone that they've been doing: Guilty Movie Pleasures, Jedi Alliance, the main Schmoes Know movie show, and of course Profiles. So give us a little comment, because we read all of them. We try to respond to every single one if we can.
It's all about you, because we know you love movies just as much as we do, and we think you know just as much about Cate Blanchett as Alicia Malone.
Let's see.
In quiz show. You ready, my friend? I'm going to hit you up. I'm just throwing you a bone here.
If I get it wrong, I'm going to blame my cold.
I'm throwing you a bone. Oh, I got one too. I got one too. Oh, well.
Doesn't surprise me.
Here's the deal. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. In the movie Blue Jasmine,
yes, what
is Jasmine's real name?
Janine. Right?
Is it Janine?
Yeah.
Is it Jennifer?
Yeah.
Is it Jeanette? Or is it Janelle?
Actually, it's Jeanette.
Okay! She wins again!
Almost got it wrong, but then
every time she gets this right.
And I probably gave you my cold when we were sitting next to each other watching Nightcrawler yesterday.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, here's one for you. Which of the following Oscar-nominated roles did Cate turn down?
Ooh.
Was it Roxy Hart in Chicago? Was it Virginia Woolf in The Hours? Or was it Sarah Pierce in Little Children?
Oh, man, that is tough.
Hard.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Sorry.
Oh, say that again. The A, B, and C. Say that again.
Roxy Hart.
Roxy Hart, okay.
Virginia Woolf in The Hours, or Sarah Pierce in Little Children?
Is it Roxy Hart?
It is.
You just gave me the answer.
I wanted you to win.
You just winked at me.
I want you to win.
Oh, you're so nice. That was... Thank you for being so generous. I appreciate that. Thank you. This way I don't look so bad.
Let's go. I just realized how hard it was, so I was like, I'm going to help you out.
But that's a great question. That's the kind of question we should be doing in quiz show, by the way.
Have we seen Cate sing before? No, that would be interesting.
No.
Roxy Hart.
Oh, that would have been great. Oh, well. Oh, there's still plenty of time for her to do a musical.
Yes.
Coming in, back to our Fast Five.
Yes.
Coming in at number 3 on the Fast Five, my friend. Let's hear it.
Hunt the flesh, kill the flesh, eat the flesh. That's the male sex all over.
The Aviator, released on December 25th, 2004. Directed by Martin Scorsese. This movie was nominated for 11 Academy Awards. It was the most nominated movie of 2004. Won 5, including number 1 for Cate Blanchett, Best Supporting Actress.
Incredible. Plays Katharine Hepburn, who is one of my favorite actresses. We will definitely be profiling her at some point.
Sure,
She's so iconic. Originally, the role was going to go to Nicole Kidman, but then she couldn't do it because she was contracted to the Stepford Wives. Oh. So Cate stepped in. Yeah, I know. Lucky for Cate.
Lucky for Cate.
Because Cate really has the brashness and the ballsiness and the sexiness that Katharine Hepburn really had. And Cate, with all her roles, does an intense amount of research. So she read everything she could on Katharine Hepburn. She also rewatched all her movies, including many of them at Martin Scorsese's house.
Nah, can you imagine his screening room?
Yes, so she could watch it on the big screen because she hadn't seen some of those movies on the big screen. So she studied her performances. But what is so remarkable about this performance is that it moves well beyond being an imitation.
Absolutely, it does. You're right.
She humanizes the character, and it is a fully realized character. And after a little while of saying, oh my gosh, she does look like her and she sounds like her, you get lost in the character. In it.
Sure, and that's crucial. The word humanizes her, because anytime you play a larger-than-life role, even someone like Katharine Hepburn, you run the risk of imitation. You run the risk of mimicking. And mighty fast, I have to say, Cate Blanchett dispenses with that and humanizes the character.
Yes.
This is the only time in Oscar history that an actress won an Oscar for
Yeah.
playing an Oscar-winning actress.
So cool.
And like you said about all the research that Cate Blanchett did for this role, among what you said, she had freckles painstakingly painted on her face, on her shoulders, on her chest, so she could look as much like Katharine Hepburn as possible. But some of the scenes where I felt like she really did humanize Katharine Hepburn is that scene after Howard Hughes crashes his plane and he goes home and they're just having a moment in the bedroom. She's tending to his foot and she just goes something like, "Be careful not to let people in." Like, because they're both getting famous, him now, or they'll turn us into freaks. Like, it was an interesting choice of words that really shows the vulnerability of someone like Katharine Hepburn, who's this world famous actress, that she has insecurities and she's guarded about her fame. And like when it showed her at her home with her family, she was just she was Katie.
Yeah, she's Kate.
She was Katie, yeah.
And I love that line that she says, you know, fame's supposed to be my turf, when she gets a little jealous of how famous he's getting. Obviously, this is Leonardo DiCaprio's film, but I feel like whenever Cate Blanchett is on screen as Katharine Hepburn, she shines.
Yeah, I feel like she stole the movie.
Yeah, she's the brightest spark in the film. And Leo, we will also get to on profiles, because no one plays insane and obsessed quite like Leo.
Of Leonardo DiCaprio profiles is absolutely on the cards. He would be a great profile, no question about it. Turning to our friends in Schmoville, we just love reading these comments that we did pull from our Facebook fan page, Profiles with Malone and Mantz on the Schmoes Know Network. That is a shameless plug for you to please go to that page and like it so you can join in on the fun. So we read your comments on the air so you can be part of our brackets. But Claudia Rose Weldon, another great profile whom we love and adore, says this about The Aviator. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was Nicholas Maglieri who says this about The Aviator. I absolutely love Cate Blanchett in The Aviator. She holds her own with Leonardo DiCaprio and often steals the show as the legendary and iconic actress Katharine Hepburn. She loses herself in the character, just like we said, making it hard to remember which one is on the screen. She gives the character depth while still accurately portraying her quick wit.
Yeah, well, Liam Logrand says, my favorite Cate Blanchett performance is in The Aviator as Katharine Hepburn. She perfectly embodied her physical attributes and characteristics, as well as that voice. She stole the show for me, and I wish she was in it longer. An Oscar well deserved. Also wanted to read out a quick quote from our guy we profiled last week, David Fincher, who of course worked with Cate Blanchett in Benjamin Button, and he says about Cate, I always say everyone was lucky enough to be in a Cate Blanchett movie.
Great quote.
Great quote.
Great quote from a great director. And listen, Cate Blanchett has great movies. She has some underrated films, overrated films, and maybe an awful one.
But
not that
never
her fault.
a bad performance.
Never a bad performance.
Yes.
In our section, we like to call the good, the bad, the ugly for our overrated, underrated, and just plain awful. Alicia, what is your underrated Cate Blanchett movie?
My underrated is Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I love Cate Blanchett as the journalist. It's sort of Wes Anderson's Jacques Cousteau, Moby Dick type story. I feel like it just gets a bad rap because it's not Royal Tenenbaums, and people hold it up to that same high standard. It still shows remarkable ability from Wes for his production design and his directing style, and I thought Cate was wonderful in it, but everyone just says, yeah, it's not as good as Royal Tenenbaums.
It's hard to follow. It's like when Scorsese followed Raging Bull with King of Comedy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, now King of Comedy is seen as a great movie, just like Life Aquatic is. But my underrated is actually a movie called Heaven, which came out in 2002. It's directed by Tom Tykwer, who directed Run, Lola, Run.
One of my favorites.
Definitely one of the best movies of 1999 when that came out. What a great year that was. But the problem is that this movie was not Run, Lola, Run. It was a much slower, intensely paced, suspenseful movie about a woman who is trying to avenge the death of her husband and gets mixed up in the wrong side of the track, so to speak. She goes to jail and has a love affair with this cop cop played by Giovanna Ribisi. It's a very intense movie. She shaves her head in the last part of the film.
right.
And this was supposed to be part of a trilogy called Heaven, Hell, and Purgatory. They never got past Heaven, and it's too bad because this is a really interesting film, and I would love to have seen where this character was going to go.
Well, Cate and Giovanni also starred in another movie, which is my overrated, called The Gift.
Oh, The Gift, yeah.
Remember The Gift? It's just because it got very predictable, and tonally it's very uneven. Kate's great in it, but
Sam Raimi, not a great movie. It came out in 2000, I think.
Yeah,
not a great film. My overrated. I say overrated to the extent that I know people who liked it, even though if they didn't love it, was Bandits.
Oh, yes.
Which came out in 2001.
She was funny.
She was funny. It was good to see her doing in a comedic role. And Billy Bob Thornton and Bruce Willis play bank robbers who take her hostage. And they both fall in love with her. Directed by Barry Levinson, not one of his better films. But I think you and I can both agree on the awful.
Yes.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, where Cate played Dr. Irina Spalko, KGB agent. She did her best, but the film just had so many problems.
You know, I have to say, I went back and I reviewed the film. I gave it a pretty positive review.
What?
Because I just got wrapped up in the return of Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
It was just so great to see.
Easy to do. You're just like, yes, we're
yes,
getting
he's
another
back.
one.
And it wasn't until like years later that I went back and watched it again. I went, ooh, yeah, not great. But
so good.
What is great are the reactions to some of Kate's underrated and overrated movies.
Yes.
About Hannah. Brian Williams, not the newscaster, says, featuring a great villainous turn by Blanchett as Marissa Weigler. The film really grew on me after repeated viewings and is now one of my favorites that she's done.
Well, Tyler Myers says that Veronica Guerin is underrated.
Yeah, it is.
He says, I remember watching it back in high school and I was fascinated by what this reporter went through and as an investigative journalist, and Blanchett, as always, was fantastic in the role.
And as the awful, yes, our friend Adam Johnson also agrees with us about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It wasn't her fault as much the over-reliance on CGI. That said, her performance really didn't make her a memorable indie villain like Ursula or in Last Crusade or Belloc in Raiders, but she wasn't bad. The script just didn't help her or anyone else all that much.
Very true. Well, let's go to another great film of Cate Blanchett's. Our Fast Five number 2 is...
I am not your Elizabeth. I am no man's Elizabeth.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Yes, came out on November 8th, 1998, directed by Shekhar Kapoor, nominated for 7 Academy Awards and won 1 for makeup. This was Cate Blanchett's first nomination for Best Actress, and she lost to...
Gwyneth Paltrow.
From Shakespeare in Love.
Which also starred Joseph Fiennes.
And also starred Jeffrey Rush.
Yes, that's
Those guys were both not bad. 2 actors in 2 Best Picture nominees, one of them that actually won.
Yeah.
But Cate did win the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Drama, so at least she got something to take home from that movie. This is I think it's an epic film, and again, I just love it's such a strong character who is surrounded by betrayal by her own people, and she sacrificed so much about herself and her soul, and she prevails. I love the last scene of that movie when she's become the Virgin Queen. Yeah, it's so shocking and haunting, that last image of her like that, isn't it?
Well, this was Kate's breakout role. Even though she was sort of known in Australia, nobody knew who she was over here. A lot of people's first blood with Cate Blanchett was this movie. It's all about the early years of Queen Elizabeth's reign and the struggle to learn how to be this fierce, feared, respected leader. I love how Cate, even though, it's not historically completely accurate, but I love how Cate embodies so many different facets of the personality of this Queen Elizabeth. Sexy and youthful and fun and in love, and then turns to like fierce and strong and really comes into her own. She just the transformation is incredible. She also, of course, studied really hard to prepare for this role. She shaved her hairline so she would have a higher forehead or a 5 head, much like I have. And
no, you don't.
she read a lot of Elizabeth's letters because she felt like if she read the books on Elizabeth, that maybe the person who wrote the book might be tainted guided by their thoughts on Queen Elizabeth or their thoughts on a female monarch. So she wanted to read everything from Elizabeth's perspective. So she really got into that. Interestingly, Shekhar Kapur found Cate Blanchett through the trailer for Oscar and Lucinda.
The trailer. So he didn't watch the whole movie.
I think he saw the trailer. He was like, that's it.
The one.
Because other actresses considered for the role include Nicole Kidman, Kirsten Scott Thomas, Emily Watson, Juliette Binoche, Helena Bonham Carter.
And I understand that Meryl Streep was actually turned down for this movie.
Wow.
Only the third time that ever happened in her career. Yeah. But I love the review from Entertainment Weekly about Elizabeth, written by Lisa Schwartzbaum when the movie came out in '98. She says, when Cate Blanchett announces her feminist declaration, "I am no man's Elizabeth," she makes us know that she most definitely is not. And she calls her performance blissfully unactressy. I love that. Blissfully unactressy. And her co-star Jeffrey Rush in Elizabeth had this to say about Cate Blanchett: "I had seen one of Cate's school productions and was pinned to my seat thinking, who is this extraordinary creature with this maturity of performance, who yet is still in drama school. Even when she's doing nothing, you get this interplay between vulnerability and assurance, flickering from one to the other, which I think for the Queen is breathtaking."
Yeah,
yes.
I love that. And I love Cate in this role. I love what you said about that, the quote that I am no man's Elizabeth. I spoke to Cate recently at the Women in Film Awards, where she was getting honoured for her body of work and the stuff that she does to support other women in film. And, you know, that's something I get a little bit of criticism for doing it. But you're a supporter as well.
Big supporter.
More interesting female characters on screen is what we need. And that's something that Cate definitely brings to the table. And I love how outspoken she is about the things she believes in. I think that's something that I definitely look up to.
Absolutely. Well, if you like Cate Blanchett,
yes,
you might want to try an adaptation, our adaptation segment where we say, if you like this person, try these people. And listen, Cate Blanchett is obviously in a class all by herself, but in terms of the elegance, the radiance, the level of commitment to her performances, there are a couple of actresses I put her in the same league with to an extent. One of them is the other Kate, who I mentioned before, Kate Winslet.
Yes.
And just because, obviously, beautiful, a great actress, but not afraid to take on challenging roles.
Exactly.
I mean, she won a supporting actress role for The Reader, and that was not a glamorous role at all. And she works a lot. She is very prolific and always knocks it out of the park.
Another one we were talking about is Jessica Chastain.
Oh yeah,
she is building such an incredible body of work, and she, like Cate, really embodies every character that she's in, and she elevates every film that she stars in. And I think we've got big things to come with Jessica Chastain. She's one of my favorites. Also wanted to read out Claudia Rose Weldon's views on Elizabeth before we move on to our next film. And Claudia says, though she may have won Oscars for Aviator and Blue Jasmine, Cate Blanchett's best performance is as the title character in Elizabeth. She connects so well with the woman and the legend that the Queen was, and this understanding makes her one of the most memorable portrayals of royalty in the past years. Additionally, her chemistry with and dominance of Joseph Fiennes, Chris Eccleston and the late Richard Attenborough gives romantic, competitive and diplomatic edges to work with. Her performance is more than a caricature of a powerful monarch. It is a woman divided by her need for a personal life and her need to do what is right for the people she governs. Also, we were talking about Elizabeth. I forgot Daniel Craig was in it.
Daniel Craig, you're like, watching this movie, because I hadn't seen it in a while. Rewatching this film, you're like, what? Daniel Craig is a killer priest. What is up? But hey, you know, that's part of the fun of going back, watching these older movies.
Yes.
You know, where you watch these performances before they got really big.
I love that.
It's so awesome seeing Daniel Craig in such a small but crucial role like this.
Or Craig, as we say in Australia. Daniel Craig.
Craig?
Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Long.
Oh, Craig.
Yeah.
Craig?
And then here they say Craig.
Okay, yeah, they say Craig. Daniel Craig. Okay.
Craig.
So when we do profiles on Daniel Craig, it's Daniel Craig.
Yeah. Sounds the same when you say it. All right, let's go to our Fast Five number one.
Number one, JT.
Blue Moon was the song that was playing. You know the song Blue Moon.
Yeah, that's when she's talking to the kids. She's like, you know the song Blue Moon.
And the kids are like, what?
Blue Jasmine.
Blue Jasmine. Boy, this is absolutely the performance of her career,
Yes.
released on July 26, 2013, written and directed by Woody Allen, nominated for 3 Academy Awards. It won 1. Hello, Best Actress, Cate Blanchett. And I love her Oscar speech when she goes, Julia, hashtag suck it,
Yeah,
Julia
suck
Roberts.
it.
And wait, she also says, I love this. This is a great for supporting women in film. And she goes, the earth is round, people.
Yeah, the earth is round, people.
Yeah, like, come on, you gotta get, again, a great supporter for women in film. But this is a great movie.
I think this is one of Woody Allen's strongest films, and definitely that has a lot to do with Cate Blanchett. Again, like you said, her strongest performance of all, in my opinion. Essentially, it's a modern version of Streetcar Named Desire, and Jasmine is sort of a Blanche Dubois type character. She's incredible, Cate, because she's able to portray the fragility, the vulnerability, then self-delusion. She's an annoying character. She's a frustrating character. She's a funny character. She's a tragic character.
Tragic.
And to be able to bring in all those elements is just incredible. I also love the way this film is structured, because the first time you're watching it, you're not quite sure what happened to all these characters, the flashbacks, and then you finally find out what happened to the husband, and the story slowly reveals itself. And that ending.
The ending. Oh, it's devastating.
Oh my gosh, when she's on the park bench babbling, and you can imagine how easily that could happen. It's a riches to rags story.
Riches to rags. And I went back to the review I wrote for Access Hollywood last year, and I wrote, the genius of Blanchett's haunting tour de force performance lies with her ability to make her a vulnerable, sympathetic character that you can't help but root for, even when she's not fully deserving of that compassion.
It's true.
It is so true. And that's watching this character, the wife of this sort of Bernie Madoff type of character, watching her fall into a tailspin, watching her unravel, watching her deep in the throes of a psychological breakdown. It's uncomfortable, but also funny, because there are some great lines in this movie, courtesy of Woody Allen. But just the question is, okay, I'm assuming most people have seen this movie by now, but when she finds out that her husband, Alec Baldwin, has been cheating on her, she calls the cops on her husband about all his financial business practices, which are obviously not legit. And he, of course, goes to jail, hangs himself, dies. And then she winds up getting the brunt of all the legal, financial things that she has to now provide. She loses everything. So do you think she did the right thing by turning in her husband?
I think so, but I think she obviously didn't realize the repercussions.
Right.
So she should have been a little smarter and maybe got him to sign a few things, waiving any liability from her before she did that. I guess she didn't realize how much of a snowball effect this would happen.
Desperate.
I love throughout the film how it's just peppered these little moments of insanity when she's just on the street talking to herself, or talking to someone who's not there, and people walking past going, "What?
Are you talking to me?"
And then she can snap back into it, and she can be elegant and graceful and wonderful. I really enjoyed rewatching this movie. And the first time I saw it in a cinema. I paid to go see it because I missed the screenings, and I just couldn't believe how great Cate was. I was like, oh, she needs that Oscar. I'm so glad she won.
I remember when I saw this movie, it was like the day after I got back from the San Diego Comic-Con, and I was exhausted, and I was driving to the screening thinking, I don't know, maybe I should see it another time. I don't want to go watch a movie when I'm feeling this tired and out of it. But within 10 minutes, I sat forward on my chair, as you now know that I do when I'm really into a movie. And I was literally like, whoa, I mean, this is an amazing performance. I sat forward and I just went, this is the kind of movie where this is the kind of role that is an Oscar-worthy role in every sense of the word. And there are certain roles, certain performances where you just know that they are going to win the Oscar. Look at Jamie Foxx in Ray. Look at Natalie Portman in Black Swan. This is that kind of role. Jasmine is that kind of role. We're just
iconic.
You know that they deserve to take home the Oscar.
And you can't imagine anyone else doing that role.
No way.
She's so good. Well, Cole Boone loves Blue Jasmine. He says, Cate Blanchett's performance in Blue Jasmine is an unhinged, spellbinding achievement that truly showed how she can really transform into a character. Well known for playing the sophisticated roles, her performance as Jasmine is a departure from the norm, where she plays a mentally and emotionally unstable woman with complete ease and brilliance. Woody Allen tends to get some of the best performances out of his actors and actresses, and with Blue Jasmine, this may arguably be Cate Blanchett's best yet. I agree. I think she's got more to come, but so far it's her best, and also one of the best female characters in a Woody Allen film, in my opinion.
Yeah, in a while. It's definitely in a long time. I mean, obviously
Annie Hall.
Hello. but that was 77, so yes, definitely in a long time. Joseph Hemmings has this to say: Blue Jasmine boasts an excellent screenplay that weaves between quirky humor and a depressing tone seamlessly. The film rests on Cate Blanchett's shoulders, and she excels in an unrecognizable performance. She deeply and accurately delves into the mind of a former socialite suddenly finding herself in a foreign environment. It's a realistic performance that reminds you that there are individuals in this world with the same exact attitudes, and you don't know whether to be sympathetic or apathetic towards their indictments.
Very, very true. And wow, Cate, I just think amazing. So let's recap our Fast Five.
Number 5, Notes on a Scandal. Number 4, Babel. Number 3, The Aviator. Number 2, Elizabeth. Number 1, Blue Jasmine.
Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you tell us whether you think you agree with our Fast Five, if there's any we've missed that you enjoy. Next week, we are excited. We have...
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Yeah!
John Hughes.
One of our favorite directors.
We're going to have a lot of fun with John Hughes.
So much fun.
So again, make sure you go to our Facebook page, Profiles with Malone and Mantz. Like us, share it with your friends.
Resubscribe to iTunes. Also follow the great Twitter page that one of our fans, Joshua Willingham, has put together at Profiles SK.
Yes, follow.
And there you can go back and forth with people about your favorite Cate Blanchett movies, also your favorite John Hughes movies.
And make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow Alicia Malone. Make sure you follow Movie Mantz on Twitter. Please resubscribe. If you think you're a subscriber, you're probably not. So go back to iTunes, resubscribe to Profiles, review us, rate us, keep them coming. We need this to stay alive, and share the show with your friends on YouTube. We really want to get the word out. Want to make Profiles as big as possible. We have so many great filmmakers, directors, actors, actresses.
We have so much fun doing this. We put a lot of work in.
Yes, we do.
But I love it.
But we love it. We really do.
You can't complain when it's watching movies.
No way. The best kind of research is watching these movies again and again, and then we get together and put our rundowns together and talk about movies with you. Yeah. So until next time, Schmoville, see you next time.
Bye.
From producers Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, and the entire Schmoes Know Network crew, we would like to thank you for listening to Profiles with Alicia Malone and Scott Mantz. Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Madunos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. Be sure to subscribe to Profiles on iTunes and rate and review the show. To get other Schmoes Know Network episodes, movie news, and join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of the Schmoes Know Network.